Football then and now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.
A warm welcome. This is Football Then and Now, and the Premier League is back this weekend. We've been waiting for it for 3 months. I've got two gentlemen waiting in the wings. I've got Manchester United supporter, returning guest Ryan Crooks back on the show.
Hello.
Beloved Manchester United ahead of this weekend's game. And I've also got returning guest Arsenal fan Nate Rogers. And we're going to preview your game first and then move on to a few that are coming up, the ones that are standing out for us leading into the Premier League for this weekend and into Monday for Everton. Lads, where do we start? I've got to say, Ryan, business and the players that have come in since you've been on, it couldn't have gone any better in an attacking sense who you've signed.
No, absolutely. I mean, where we start is that I was dreading the start of the season. Move forward a few weeks, and I'm absolutely buzzing for the start of the season. I'll tell you one of the weirdest things about it, especially being that we're playing Arsenal the first game of the season as well, is if all the rumours are to be believed, and you never quite know what actually goes on behind the scenes. But Arsenal really wanted Šeško. Man United really wanted Gyökeres. They are playing each other, but on the opposite sides. So that's a bit of an interesting one. Firstly, I'm sure everyone's going to centre the game around who scores to goal out of those two and who plays well and who doesn't. I mean, Gyökeres obviously had a bit of pre-season. Šeško's had none, like with us, obviously. So it's like there's a little bit of catching up to do. But I'm seeing like a bit of a baby Zlatan. Like, you know, he's a big old unit. He's got the first touch. He's got a good shot on him. And some of these pictures I'm seeing of this aerial leap, we're looking at like Ronaldo Juventus sort of thing. We're looking at this crazy aerial presence. So we're going to have to start doing what we didn't do last year, which is getting crosses in the box and not shooting from outside the box all the time and actually getting crosses into the forward. Because a guy like that, I mean, he's huge. He's going to score plenty of goals if you get him a service. And I won't. I mean, I've promised Buka I'm doing this, so I'm doing it for him, Stu. This might be cringy on your channel, but I promised him I'll do it. I am to Šeško for my shirt. To Šeško for my shirt. Just for Buka.
He'll love it. He'll love it. He'll love it. I know he will. Yeah, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Nate, you've been on with us over last week. We've had you for 2 episodes, the second one of which is due out. It'll be next week, I think, when we're going to do that. But we had the first one. We were talking about what you felt going into the season. We're a bit closer now to Sunday. So your thoughts for Arsenal going in and just how you're feeling ahead of the game at Old Trafford.
Well, again, for me personally, I grew up, Arsenal, Man U was always the derby to go and watch and whatnot. It didn't matter what you were doing. And I'll be honest with you, I'm so happy they've made it a Super Sunday again, because it is something in which the younger generation actually haven't been able to follow. Man United is a global brand, and a lot of Arsenal fans aren't going to agree with what I'm about to say. Compared to Man United, we're more like the local club, if you will, trying to be global. We're nowhere near that same level. Yes, over recent years, we have been able to finish a little bit higher in the table, but facts are facts.
Just a little bit, just 15th to second, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, but the one thing I will say about Man United is Thierry Henry actually said it perfectly. You know, even with a poor squad, are still making finals, are still able to win, still able to attract big players, even with a huge debt. So, again, I'm honestly massively impressed with how Manchester United have actually gone about the transfer window. I think, honestly, there's a few issues, obviously. One particular left wing I won't go into. We've thrown a bit of a tantrum, which, I'll be honest with you, he himself doesn't realise. This time a few weeks ago, yes, he was in the driving seat to try and bowl something. Now, as you just alluded to, Manchester United have brought in a few attacking players. He's no longer in that same position to sit down and go for it. But you ask how I'm looking forward to going into it, what my opinion is. I still believe only because we have a better back line, as in Arsenal. Again, I think Manchester United, I've heard links with Donnarumma as well recently as well. Bringing him in, wow, what a keeper if you can as well. And I don't think Chelsea need any more, to be fair. I think they've brought about 9 or 10 in the past year and a half.
Clearly enough, they've just mentioned recently this afternoon that Man City are in for Donnarumma. So that's a bit of a concern.
His wages are sky high. It's a big chunk of change. His wages,
like 650,000 euros a week, aren't they?
Yeah,
PSG?
it's madness. And
mind-blowing.
He's great and all that, but does he warrant? You know, it's a big chunk of change for anybody. That.
I would just
Sorry, boys.
No, don't be sorry at all. I think the big thing in which I've got to give a lot of credit to Ineos, the way Sir Jim Radcliffe's come in with Manchester United. Yes, a lot of decisions in which have really got to get to fan base, as you'll probably agree as well. But if you look at how he's been able to deal with the debt, the Glazers could not have done that. They're not interested in. They're not interested in trying to make that global brand bigger and whatnot. Ineos, obviously, with their links with F1, it's far easier to sit down and go, okay, we're going to break this down behind the scenes. And I'll be honest with you, yes, they have major cuts, but they've now been able to go into the window and spend and bulk up. And I do think, as I said, poaching players like Heaven, Obi from us as well, they're players to grow into the future. And I think Manchester United, even though they have been finishing really poorly at the end of seasons within the league table, got to give the respect. Abel's still able to get those deals over the line. So, do I think it's going to be a good game Sunday? Yes, wouldn't miss it for the world. I'm an Arsenal fan, and as I said, I'll allude to it's only because our back line has been able to gel together a lot longer than Manchester United's. I do think it will be 3-1. Is my honest answer. I know you may agree or disagree, but make no mistake.
I've got it slightly closer, but hand on heart, as a Man United fan, I have got you winning. But I've got it 2-1.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, and again, anyone who's out there watching Manchester United having a laugh, not going to be laughing for much longer. The way Amarin is dealing with that squad, I've been watching you pre-season. I really like what you're doing. And I do think he's starting to actually get... Because last season, it was almost like okay, I've got a plan A, but I haven't quite got a plan B. Pre-season, you can see he's changing things, obviously playing with more up top as well. And you know what? The link-up play, I really like that. I like how certain partnerships are forming. It's just a case of, again, a bit more depth, I would say, is the only criticism I've got. But to be fair, with the budget he's got, with the players he's got, make no mistake, I do think Manchester United are going to surprise a few teams this season.
Right.
Absolutely. I think if we're able to move on a couple of more players that we shouldn't have at the club as well, like we've been struggling to sell. We've been buying well. We've been struggling to sell. I mean, you've got the self-acclaimed bomb squad, as they're called, Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford, Sancho and Malacia. If they can all be moved on, Rashford obviously on loan, 35 million buyout clause in there for the end of the season. I'm sure if he does half decent, they'll buy him because the Liga always tend to think that because they light up the Liga, they're back, which isn't true. Watch Anthony. But I think with Garnacho, there's talks of 50 million from Chelsea. I think if we can get 40, 50 million for Garnacho, get Højlund out on loan, get Anthony out maybe to Saudi or some kind of deal for Anthony. And then you're looking at maybe 60, 70 coming back in the club. And there's currently really hot talks on all the top journalists about Baleba from Brighton, which I think is a player that every top Premier League club would love. And I think next season you'll be competing with all the big boys to get him. So I think if we can do it now, you do it now. And I think he would add, I can't even tell you how much value to the midfield. I mean, when you see Man United play, even in the pre-season, when we have been better, we have been more together, as Nate said, I think the back line to Bruno and then to the forwards, there's always that kind of cohesion where it doesn't always go to plan somewhere in the middle and somewhere we lose that fluidity and we lose that intensity. I think Casemiro's dropped off in age and I think Ugarte just hasn't got the passing ability. So I think if we had Bruno next to Baleba and then these new signings, I think you'd see the best of Cunha, you'd see more out of Mbeumo. I think when it comes to like the partnerships being formed, I think Dorgu, who looks better than ever in pre-season, he really seems to have turned the corner. Dorgu and Cunha already have a really nice relationship on the left. And obviously it's really interesting now to see if these forwards we brought in, these like attacking tens, as Amarin calls them, can play well with Sesko, because Sesko gets left up there on his own with no service. There's no point in having Sesko. So it's like, can we link the play and get Sesko involved? And if we can get him involved and get him 15 plus 6 goals in his first season, it's only onwards and upwards. He's 22. You know, he's got so much time on his hands. And like I say, it may only be a rumour, it may not be, but he seems to be at one point Arteta's number one striker target. He seems to be obsessed with him. So there's a lot of top managers that have seen something in Sesko. So I think fingers crossed he can do well. We'd still be there negotiating now if Newcastle went to push us over the line, because we do that. And the same with Mbeumo. The minute Newcastle announced they wanted to buy Vissa, and it was going to be harder to buy Mbeumo, they paid the money. So we still like to dilly-dally on transfers. I know that Jim Ratcliffe's making some sort of difference, but I'm slightly concerned with doing Chelsea business at the moment, where we're buying everyone over 5-6 year contracts, paying 10 million a year. If they all don't work out, you will owe lots of money in future windows on players that you don't want. So that's always a concern, but it's looking positive. My biggest concern, by no question, and Stu knows this from previous appearances, Onana. If we don't change that, I don't care what you've got. Arsenal could probably score 2 goals they shouldn't be scoring, because Onana, he's not capable. He's just not right for the club. And I said when I came on the last show I think I was on was just before the tainted Europa League final, which was the worst game of football I've ever seen in a final from both teams. Onana, I said to you, Stu, will cost us that game. If we lose it, it will be because Onana's done something stupid. And Brendan Johnson gets a deflected shot that's dribbling along the floor and he can't get down to it. And it's like any other keeper in the league saves that. So he worries me. He really worries me. But there's talks this evening, literally just before we went on, that they're going to go all in on Baleba and they're happy to start the season with Onana, which does worry me.
And the Turkish lad had a shocker against us for the own goal.
Yeah, I mean, he's better than Onana, he also ain't confident. No, he's better.
He's
than
not
Onana.
your first choice anyway. He's in there to be the second keeper. I'm not disputing that, but yeah, that was shocking. Good for us, bad for you. But again, it's pre-season, But
yeah, I mean, I didn't read a lot into it. I think the first 30, 35 minutes of that game we played extremely well, and then I think we let you into it massively. Yeah. I think a lot of that come down to like the team's fatigue, getting to know each other. But I think some of the bits in the early stages with Cunha, Ahmad, and Mbeumo linking the play and quickly passing to each other and making them tiki-taka sort of passes, they did look like they've got a good synergy. Ahmad slightly worries me because I really like Ahmad, but I don't think he's going to play up front or in the 10 because of Mbeumo and Cunha have cost so much money. If he plays right wing back, for example, against Arsenal, Saka or someone like that, I don't think he's a good enough wing back, if that makes sense. He's a good enough attacking wing back, but his defensive qualities are just not really there. So I feel like he'll come off the bench at the weekend. I feel like Diogo Dalot will start to give us a bit more stability. And I think when we're playing the better teams, I personally, when we're playing the better teams, would play, if we sign Baleba, I would play Baleba and Mainu or Ugarte and Mainu and put Bruno in the 10 and drop Cunha or Mbeumo to the bench. And then when we're playing the lesser teams, like no disrespect to them, but the teams we should be beating, I would then go more attacking with Bruno in the midfield and both of the attackers, Cunha and Mbeumo, and Ahmad on the wing, and all that kind. We're more attacking. There's 2 teams being built there, which I do like, but Amarin's got to get it right. He can't go too ballsy against your Cities, your Arsenals, your Liverpools, where he will get turned over because we are still in transition, and we have still got quite a slow back line with the 2 main guys being Maguire and De Ligt, who just aren't quick. And a lot of pressure, I think, will be put on Lenny Yoro, who I truly think is a fantastic up-and-coming footballer. I rate him highly, but I don't want to see him blamed for things. And when the other 2 are too slow, he tries to cover 2 or 3 positions, makes a mistake, and then it's like, oh, he's a hype job. He's like, he's not. He's a young lad who's been thrusted into the first 11.
I'll be honest with you. I'm completely jealous. Sorry, just jump in there.
No, it's for you.
When Lenny was actually rumoured going to Man United, I said to everybody, watch out this kid. I've watched him for a few years coming up and whatnot as well. He's one of those players who a lot of people don't realise how rare it is to find a ball-playing centre-back as well.
That's it. He brings the ball out the back, and that's what we really need. Yeah. No one else does that in our defence. No one else is capable.
It's going to sound silly. He's not on the same level, but he reminds me of Rio. Certain little things he does, I look at there and I just think, this kid's got something. And
he's got that Rio intelligence, isn't he? Where he's not that sort of like slab powerhouse Vidic Terry type. He's got that intelligence to his game, where he can dribble well, he can come out from the back, he can read the game. I don't like saying it because I get stick, but I agree. He's like a young Rio. That's how I personally see him as well.
Yeah. The thing is that a lot of people forgot as well. Obviously, out of all the brothers, Rion and Anton, I remember going to see, again, West Ham with my old man when Anton was coming on. And you could always see, whenever it was West Ham versus Man U, obviously didn't talk in the tunnel and whatnot as well.
Yeah.
But it's going to sound really silly. Anton is what would have happened to Rio if he didn't listen to everyone around him. A prime example, it literally is you just put two players on a page, you go, one who listens, one who doesn't. That's what happened with Anton. He could have done something. He could have been I'm not going to say exactly the same of Rio, but he definitely had the opportunities to grow. Same as the Neville brothers as well. Started with the same platform. Gary was always the one who was a little bit more confident. I mean, like everyone laughed, as you probably remember, when Neville did the step over. It was like, don't do that again. But again, when it came to Lenny, when he first gets that ball, you could see he's actually thinking about controlling it, not just lumping it out and whatnot. And I do think someone like DeLitt alongside as well, he's like, okay, I've got the muscle here next to me. And Lenny will fill out. At this moment in time,
we're missing Martinez at the moment. I like Martinez. I know a lot of people say he's too small and what have you, but he's another one with good ball playing ability and so much tenacity and just really creates an urgency. It's like if you remember when Tevez used to play, I used to love Tevez. And I shouldn't say he's a Man United fan, but I used to love him. And we're like defending from the front with that like chasing everything tenacity. And that's what Martinez is like at the back. He just chases you down. He just hounds you, doesn't give you a second on the ball. If you combine that with the strength and the size and the height of DeLitt and the intelligence of Euro, you've got a good back three. But it's just gelling it all together, keeping Martinez fit. There's lots of ifs and buts about that setup.
Definitely. Yeah. You're 2-1 on the weekend as well. Don't forget that. You got the lad and the missus against you.
Don't. Honestly, my partner, obviously, again, you don't know this, my partner's a Man United fan as well. But again, same thing. We have great debates and whatnot as well. And again, watch your channel, Kalula. But the issue being at this moment in time, as she'll tell you as well, is, as you've just alluded to, it got players coming in. It's a bit of a clear out that needs to occur now, a proper clear out. Loans, yes, short term is good. But again, it's frustrating because, the Villa keeper, obviously, I thought, if you guys got him as well, it sounds silly, but when I close my eyes, if I have to think of a Man United keeper, he would have been literally...
I loved it. I loved the links. I think I told you before, Stu. I loved the links with Martinez. I thought he was a good price. I don't care he's 32. Van der Sar come in at 35 and we know the rest. But it's that Schmeichel, it's that personality. Yeah. It's that shithousery, if you like, that Man United keepers need, that bit of something about them. And Martinez absolutely has it. Like, Martinez makes a mistake, he's desperate to redeem himself. And Nana makes a mistake, he makes another 5 because the confidence just drops off a cliff.
The other thing I like about him as well is he's not afraid with the Villa boys. Even with Tyrone Mings, there was a period, obviously, I know the captaincy went up in the arm and up in the air, should I say, and whatnot as well. But he was prepared to take control and just be like, that's it, when he first joined them. And for me, when he came for Arsenal through the youth, through the ranks and whatnot.
He was at Arsenal, wasn't he? I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was with us all his time, all his career, came up and whatnot as well. And for a period of about 10 or so games, obviously we had Bert Leno, and no disrespect to the keeper as well. Leno, he's not a bad keeper, but he's not an elite keeper. And unfortunately, over the years, we've tried doing the budget buys, I would call them as well, going, okay, well, they'll fill in for now, and we'll try and find that one. Emil, he was that guy. And for whatever reason behind the scenes, we just never gave him the opportunity. And I love the guy. And I've said this to a lot of people, and some people hate me for this as well. If we had kept him with the back line we've got, no disrespect to Raya, we would have won the league. I firmly believe that, and I've said that twice.
I think if you look at modern football, I think it's becoming more and more important to have a solid goalkeeper than maybe years ago, or maybe 10 years ago, where you used to get away with it. You used to see quite a lot of average goalkeepers floating around the leagues, right, who weren't what they should be. But if you look at teams that are actually performing and like year in, year out, top 4 teams, Villa have broke into that cycle, into the top 6 regularly, because again, Martinez. Ederson at City, Alisson at Liverpool, Raya at Arsenal, who's now settled in. And credit to Arteta for ousting the keeper that the fan base liked at one point and bringing Raya in and saying, no, he's not who I want Raya, and actually making that decision. United, I think, are never going to get there again in that solid, guaranteed top 4. Challenging for major honours. Like that. We win a few trophies, yes, but I mean challenging for major honours. And I think until Onana goes, we're not going to get that stability back. But I can clearly imagine, and I'm sure you can as well, Man United Arsenal Sunday, 89, 90 minutes, 1-1, Onana absolute clanger, and there's your loss. You can just see it coming. I can see it coming a mile away.
It's happened It's happened time and time again, hasn't it? So yeah, I agree. Sorry, go on, Nate. It's about you two. It's about you two tonight.
I was going to say, one of the big howlers I went to the Man United Wolves game. And again,
the Cunha corner goal.
I could not believe what happened there. And it was almost like they were going, did he punch it? What happened there? And you watch it and you're just thinking, what are you doing? And I think this is no disrespect to Onana, but something psychologically, I know he's had a lot of trouble back home and whatnot as well. House burglary, again, off-field things which I won't dive into. So there is a degree of that. But as an elite Premier League player, that's almost what you're paid to do. You're paid to somehow block that noise out and perform. And it's disappointing what I'm about to say, because I watched him obviously over in Italy and I thought, you know what, he's not a bad keeper. But when I first heard you guys were going in for, I thought, no, it just doesn't strike me as Mr. Man United. But he's a good keeper, but he's not Man United's keeper. And
I don't even think now, for whatever reason, I don't even think you call him a good keeper now. I don't think anyone in the top 8 or top 10 probably would take a punt on him now. I don't think they would. I think the only teams that might take a punt are overseas, I think, where they know the pressure falls off a little bit. In the Premier League, you just get hounded for pressure. I think when I watched him play in the Champions League final against City, and he literally made the whole team press resistant and was amazing with his feet and was demanding the box. And at that time, we were like speculatively linked. And I was like, we'll never get him. He'll never come to us. He's elite. He's one of the best keepers out there. And then when we got him, I was so excited. And then when I saw him start playing, I thought, even the very first game he ever played for us, he knocked out a player and got away with it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He punched straight through someone. And I was like, he got away with it. Obviously, I was happy for that. But when you watch it back, you think, that's criminal. How has he not given away a spot kick there? He's literally gone straight through the guy. Like, it was not good. And then it just from there, he had another game where, who was it? Was it Forest? We went 2-0 down in about 4 minutes. I think it was Forest. And because I was watching it and they scored. And then about 3 minutes later, they scored again. We were 2-0 down within about 4 or 5 minutes. And the second one, they were running at him and he was like off his line. And he just started backpedaling a little bit and then fell over. And just let him just tap it in the net. And I was like, what is he doing? You're meant to go chase to the ball when you're one-on-one, make it harder. He was backpedaling, giving them more and more goal to shoot at. I was like, I just don't understand what he's doing. It's like, what you're told as a 4-year-old, how to play in goal. And he's just doing the complete opposite. It was just, I don't know if his head's gone, if the confidence is gone. The only confidence I've got, well, confidence ain't the word, but hope more, is that this pre-season, he's just got a bit of confidence back, a bit of self-belief back. He's convinced himself he's a good keeper again. And he's just going to prove people wrong this season. I mean, strange things have happened, but I'm not confident. I'd much rather we have signed Martinez and even now go in for someone like Donnarumma or whoever else is available. I
was going to say the other issue. I remember when he first came on the scenes with Man United, came over and whatnot, and obviously it's a big position to fill. De Gea going. I mean, like, I still put my hands up. That's one of these signings I thought evermore regret saying, oh, he's never going to make it. Not good enough, because he was such a twig. And I still remember Sir Alex Ferguson time and time again saying, this boy is going to be number one. He is our keeper and he's going to be here a very long time. And I still remember thinking, Ferguson, you're my favourite manager of all time, but I think you've lost a plot here. But he just grew into it, and this twig became a man, and this man became a keeper with personality. And some of the saves he would pull off, even if he was having a bad game, you'd be like, how did he do that? And
wasn't it against you lot when he done, was it 13 in a game or something?
Yeah. It was absolutely phenomenal. The guy just would not let it go.
We ended up winning 3-1, I think, on the day, and we should have lost about 5-1, about 5-3. Sorry, he pulled off some absolute world. That was a double save, wasn't it, from Lacazette?
Don't remind me. I mean, like, I still remember yelling at the telly, going, "What are you doing? Just let it go. Give up."
He was just insane that day. We had another game against Liverpool like that when they had Luis Suarez, when he made so many constant saves, and we ended up nicking it at the end. It was like the De Gea. People say this. You know, if you remember the Van Gaal era when we had a few stinkers and we had Falcao and people like that, Di Maria, etc. And there was a game against Everton, I think it was actually. So I think you'll actually probably remember it, Stu. And it's when I think someone shot at the last minute from outside the box and he tipped it over. and kept us winning 1-0. And it was like a shot you just never imagined him to save. It might have been Jagielka or someone just got hold of it and just thought, I'll have a go.
Harpooned it.
Yeah, harpooned it. And he should never have saved it, and he did. And people say, when you look at that points tally, I think we finished 7th or 8th that season. And it's like, people say you would have been fighting relegation without that goalkeeper. And when you actually watch some of the games back, it's actually so true. If that was an Arnie goal, we wouldn't be in the Premier League right now, be in the Championship.
Not to make it about Everton. I'm just on the goalkeeper front. Without Pickford, we would have been down as well. 100%. 100%. The amount of saves. So going to that point, your keeper, absolutely, because he doesn't get enough praise, Pickford, I'm telling you.
But very quickly going back to what Nate said, though, about Sir Alex backing De Gea, like, this will be our keeper, this is our keeper, everyone back him. Amorim needs to come out and do that to Onana if he wants to keep him there. He needs to make him know that he backs him, because that gives you that bit of self-belief and gets your confidence back. Because by going radio silent and keep switching him with Bienda just isn't helping anybody, is it?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. What kind of hurt the most as well is I still remember a young Dean Henderson behind the De Gea, and I still say to everybody, and in fact, I'll tell you what, my partner will criticise me if I don't say this as well, and she said it before I did. If Dean had actually stayed with United and listened to everyone around him by saying, look, just respect the club, do the loan process, and come back, and you will build yourself into this position. I firmly believe he might have been Man United's number one right now. But again,
take him now over Onana, definitely, 100%.
That's what I was just about to say.
When I watch Dean Henderson play, I think, he's a keeper there now. He's a confident young man. It's like what you said about De Gea. It's a boy to a man, isn't it? And now there's a confident man in that goal who now backs himself and has proven himself. But I think now he's just rubbed the club up the wrong way too many times. They wouldn't take him back. Because he's just caused a lot of aggravation. He basically demanded being the number one when we had De Gea in top form. So
he waited for how long? Obviously Fiorentina in the end, wasn't it? But he wasn't playing. But it was wage. It was the wage ultimately, wasn't it? That was the straw that broke the camel's back with him. I just want to put in a prediction, lads. Are you okay with me sitting on the fence?
If you're saying a draw, I think if we had a goalkeeper that isn't going to drop a clanger, I'd probably lean towards a draw myself. So that's
I've got 2-2 in my head. I've got 2-2 in my head. You can say I'm sitting on the fence, boys, and I don't want to upset one of you. I know you wouldn't get upset. I know, but I've got 2-2. That's the first score that's come to my head. I'm going to stick with it.
First game of the season, I would take it all day long. Get off the box without a loss against a decent side and move on. I mean, they would probably expect to win, and I totally respect that from where they finished last season. They probably expect to win. But if we had a really decent game where United showed massive improvement, let's say Sesko got a goal or Mbermo or someone looked really promising, and we did look a different outfit to last year, would you be overly gutted with a draw?
Not definitely not. Sorry.
Sorry, just because from an Arsenal perspective, would you be gutted with a draw if we turn up? Not if we get like last year, Man United, but if we turn up.
I'm going to refer to days I used to go. My old man's West Ham, as I said. And I'm going to refer to days I used to go and see them and then still go and watch Arsenal at Highbury and the Emirates and whatnot as well. It's not so much losing or drawing. It's how you play. And a lot of times, I always said this, even when we were playing well, and we then started winning games by just the cuff, 1-0, and it almost was paper over the cracks. For me personally as well, if we were to draw, I would hope that it'd be just a good game. Go, you know what? Fine, we cancelled each other out.
This is my point, mate. This is my point. Now, I'm saying if Man United turn up like the old Man United that you know and love from years ago, and they actually give you a serious game, and it is a really tight affair where all the new forwards are gelling and they're peppering the goal and it's end to end, and it's not like a rubbish United turn up and nick a penalty or something. Like an actual United Arsenal game gives you both a point, and you move into the season against lesser opposition in the coming weeks. For me, that's not devastating. For me, that's a great start to the season.
100% agree as well. I think the big thing as well, a lot of people always, you've just hit the nail on the head. A lot of people underestimate starting the season and not losing. I know it sounds silly.
I don't want to win, but I don't want to lose.
Yeah. Everyone looks at the league table. I know a lot of people say players don't look at it. Of course they do. They always do. Morale-wise, psychologically, yes, you're taking home a bit of banter as well. the proper rights to go at the
If you gave Ruben Amorim a draw now,
opposition and
he'd
whatnot.
bite your
But
hand off.
would I be annoyed?
100%.
But do you know what? The game, in my opinion, you've alluded to it before with Sesko and Victor. You know, obviously, I've been asked this a lot of times, who would I prefer? And a lot of people hate me for saying this, but Sesko. And the reason being, he's younger, he's moldable, he's got that height, he's got that sort of arrogance. But you know what else he's got as well? Consistency. And again, Victor as well. Can't knock him as well. I still remember him in the championship and watching him grow and whatnot.
See, that's actually done him a world of good, that is, because he's played a
Yeah.
very competitive style of English football where you get battered, kicked about. You have to really be a bit about you to get through the championship. And he's been in that slog. You know, people say no PL experience, but he might as well have had it because he's been in the championship.
The one thing in which he's doing, in which a lot of people forget as well, I like his movement off the ball. And he offers us something very different as well. And Havertz as well, it's going to sound really silly. I can't believe I'm about to compliment Gary Neville, but he actually said something in an interview not that long ago. Well, I say not that long ago, some time ago now, but he was like, Havertz playing in gear 3. He will hit gear 4 one day eventually if given the opportunity, and maybe a gear 5. Victor, though, I'll be honest with you, it's his spot and his to lose. And
it is, 100%.
Yeah, it's some of the movement he's doing off the ball. I love it. I absolutely adore it. And it was great to see Zubimendi actually play the ball into the danger zone straight away. Don't even think about it. Put it there. Sesko, I mark my word. Anyone watching this as well, Sesko will be a world-class talent one day. And some of the movement he does, he's great interlinking as well. And he's not afraid to have a go. And that's something in which a lot of people underestimate as well, the ability to shoot outside the box and believe and say, I'm going to get this, I'm going to score. Attitude.
It was strange about Sesko, because when I literally first saw his interview the other day, which was like his first 8-minute interview in the United shirt, talking to the United people about I'm so happy to be here, etc., etc. His first interview as a United player. But he said, who out of Man United legends do you admire the most? And I was expecting Cantona, Rooney, Van Nistelrooy, whatever. And he said Zlatan. And before he'd said that, I'd likened him to Zlatan. I thought, you remind me of that touch, that 6'5" frame with a great silky touch. Because these tall players, they're clumsome. They haven't got that touch. That's why Zlatan's always been one of my favourite players, because I was ecstatic when he comes to United, even for a twilight year. Like, he's just so exciting to watch. And he's just likeable and funny. And I just wanted him at United. And Sesko reminds me of a young Zlatan. If you told me we could have Zlatan at 22, yeah, please. Like, all them years to come and develop, at our club. But it's like you said about Zubimendi getting the ball into Gyökeres. If we're not getting early balls in with that guy's height, we're dropping a ball. We're dropping the ball massively. We've got to get the wingers and the wing backs listening to the manager and going, you get that ball, you cross it straight in the box. Even if he doesn't win the header clean or he doesn't, get it on goal, he can bring it down, he can chest it, he can win a corner. He's going to cause havoc. Keep getting that ball into Sesko.
It's going to be interesting, boys. It's going to be very, very interesting. We've got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So we predicted, obviously, the biggest game of the weekend, of course. Can't wait to see it, lads. All the best, as I say. I'm sitting on the fence, all right? I'm going to stick with the 2-2. I'm going to take us to Anfield on Friday evening, the opener, the curtain raiser against Bournemouth. Bournemouth have been obliterated in defence, haven't they? Let's be honest. Zabani's now gone, hasn't he? PSG. I mean, I know they've still got Kluivert. I'm surprised.
As well, Real Madrid.
I'm surprised Kluivert there's not been more hoopla with him actually after the season they had. They've got them at the moment. Semenyo's still there, isn't he? Even Ilson only came in last year, as I said to you last week, Nate. So it's all fine, isn't it? But
he was our Mbumo or Cunha backup option, I think, Semenyo. If we couldn't get them, we were linked to him. Be honest, I'm happier we've got who we've got, but he's a decent player.
I'm just worried for Bournemouth because he's got to replace those lads. And then Brentford are sniffing around Dango Ataro. That's come out today as well. I know he's on the fringes sometimes. He doesn't start every game. But they need to get people in. And Areola, I like him. He's going to have his replacements. I'm sure he'll rebuild it again. But they've been decimated at the back. And I think Liverpool could give him a spanking on Friday night, to be honest with you. That's what I can see. What do you guys think?
I'll be honest with you. I said it to you last week as well, and I did it in my last video as well. I said Liverpool would lose against Palace, but they will beat Bournemouth 4 or 5-1. And for two reasons. First of all, bounce back ability from what happened against Palace. Obviously, that is going to be humiliating. They've spent hundreds of millions of pounds on a few players and still to effectively get a draw against Palace, which, no disrespect to Palace, but I'm sorry, Liverpool should have been going for the win. But as I said, the reason why Liverpool weren't going to win that game as well, first of all, they haven't had time to gel. And number two as well, Palace have turned into one of those teams that you keep driving forward. And I'll be honest with you as well, I really like what he's done there. But against Bournemouth, as I alluded to the other week as well, and you've just said as well, their back line, 4 out of the 5, gone. And it's not so much, okay, just replace this and t'other. A spine of a team. A lot of people always go, well, you need a decent striker, you need a decent centre mid, you need a decent centre back and a decent keeper. No, if you don't have a decent pairing at the back and a decent keeper, as far as I'm concerned, the rest of the team is wishing on a prayer because communication's key. A lot of keepers as well. If a defence doesn't feel like they can play it back or play and turn and take it out as well away from the keeper, let alone being able to ping it from left to right without worrying about what's behind them, yeah, it's going to slam dunk a team. And I'll be honest with you, Areola, when he was at West Ham as well, it's going to sound really insulting, and I don't mean this as well, but that's one thing Fabianski was doing for a period of time with West Ham. During the good period between both keepers were able to step in and offer something fairly similar. Even during a bad spell, they were still trying to play the same style of football, so it didn't affect the attacking players. But with Bournemouth as well, they play a very clear style of play, and for me personally, I feel sorry for them on some level. Obviously, they've taken the money without actually thinking, hang on a second, we haven't got a plan B here. We're hoping whoever we bring in can be just as good or do some part of a job as well and hope for the best. Do I think they're going to do well this season? No, I think they're going to struggle, is my honest opinion. And I pitched them in at 14th, 15th at the best. And that's not being insulting. That's being realistic. Their attacking force isn't a bad force, as you've alluded to as well. I was quite expecting a few more players to be poached. But at the end of the day, Bournemouth are the sort of club in which, let's face it, and I don't mean this in the wrong way, they're not world beaters. They're a mid-table team at best who have been slightly overachieving, and what they've got to pitch themselves against is teams like Man United who are doing a rebuild. Chelsea are at the back end of their rebuild, so Chelsea have to win something. Arsenal have to win something this season. Manchester City have got their charges going on, but they're still investing in their team as well. Liverpool, again, are reinvesting in their team and, again, have to win something without even trying. It's almost doom and gloom for them, and they've got to think realistically, okay, we want to stay in the league. We want to be able to pitch ourselves on a good cup run and see if we could do a Palace and get into European football that way. But I don't think they will. And solely because, again, they haven't got a plan B and they really have lost that depth. Oh.
Gone a bit quiet, Stu.
Oh, Stuart, your mic.
It gives me Wolves types of vibes. The way they're not bringing, there's no recruitment. They're not bringing in, and they need to back him because he was getting touted for other jobs, wasn't he, Areola? And rightly so with what he's done with the resources he's had. Rai, what do you think with that game for a prediction? How do you think they're going to get on?
I'll give you a very, very quick 30-second synopsis of that one. So my head says 4-1 Liverpool. My heart says 9-0 Bournemouth. I
like that.
But reality, exactly what Nate said, they've been decimated in so many areas. And I think it could even be worse than mid-table. I wouldn't be surprised to see a relegation battle here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see one of those reactionary changes of manager, which I think would be a bad decision. But I think if they start losing too many games, And going back to the Arsenal Man United situation, you want to get off to a first game without a loss, even if it's only a draw, because it gives you that self-belief. Coming in the start of the season, losing lots of key players and taking a 4 or 5-0 hiding in the opening weekend, which could easily happen here, could be 10 games in a row now of bad results for Bournemouth following the first one. So I'm very concerned for Bournemouth. I think they're in trouble.
It doesn't look good. Doesn't look good with what's going on. But yeah, again, he's got targets. I've seen there are people he's looking at, but he needs to do it sooner rather than later. And he can unearth these gems, can't he? I didn't know much about Kirkes beforehand. I'll be honest, I didn't know. Look how well they've done, and look at the clubs they've gone to. They've gone to top level teams. So it goes to show, doesn't it? They've got a recruitment policy in place, so hopefully they can sort it. But just Liverpool before we go, then they've got to come back. They've got to bounce back, as you said, Nate. But again, yeah, I think they're going to absolutely obliterate them.
Can I say one thing about Liverpool? I honestly don't just say this because I hate them. I genuinely do believe they're not going to have the season some people think they're going to have.
Agreed.
When you make an absolute massive wholesale changes to a winning team, it can damage it. They've had Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai running the best midfield in the league last year, running all the games. Gravenberch looking like a completely different player to the season previous. All the energy, the engine room, McAllister's passing ability and through balls and all the rest of it. And Wirtz has got to come in and play somewhere. You don't pay 100 million for a bench player. So who's moving out of those three? Because I wouldn't change any of them. So one of them's missing out now. Trent was unbelievable at creating assists and getting I like Frimpong, I do. And he's a better defender than Trent, no doubt. But Liverpool relied on Trent for assists, goals, corners, everything, and he's gone. Ekitike, I think, is a major punt. I feel much safer on having Gyökeres or Sesko. I think he's a massive punt. He had a good game in the Community Shield, I'll give him that, but he is a punt. Kirkes, I think a lot of people reported went missing a lot during the Community Shield and was responsible for some of the Palace best moments. And it's going to take time. It's going to take time. And if they go for Isak as well, I mean, that's another one in the mix where you just can't see where they all gel, because that would mean Ekitike on the left. He's not really a left player. He's a number 9 as far as I know, or drops back a bit like an old Roberto Firmino. But he's got a lot of puzzle pieces to try and put together here. And Chelsea have done this in the past. United have done this in the past. Too many changes, it can be bad. I think they needed 1, maybe 2 at most, because they've got a Premier League winning side.
A lot of people are going to hate my opinion here, and I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to get ridiculed for it. This was that time they should have let Salah go. And I'll be honest with you, that's one of the big signings in which over the years he has produced for them. And I'm predicting he's not going to have a good season. And the reason being is the players who have come in are going to want to take that focal point, are going to want to justify their bottom line and whatnot. So providing Salah is somehow chipping in with some form of assist and whatnot, everyone's going to go, well, obviously his age, his position, this and that. I just don't see it. I don't see those players complementing his style of play. And as I said, take nothing away from Salah. He's a world-class talent who's earned the right. And I hate what I'm about to say again. On paper, what he's achieved with Liverpool surpasses potentially what Thierry Henry did. And that's why I know you disagree. I love my play. For me, as I said last week, Dennis Bergkamp and Vieira are my
I've been on this show, publicly speaking, about, as a Man United fan, a passionate Man United fan, as Stu and my friend George, who's on here as well, will tell you. But Thierry Henry is my all-time favourite Premier League player. He really is, because Cristiano Ronaldo's best years were in Real Madrid, and people forget that. As a Premier League player, Thierry Henry, to me, is the best he's ever seen. The speed, the strength, just everything. And you forget he's not a small guy either. When you see Thierry Henry, he's strong, he can hold the ball, he's got pace, electric pace. Like that video I've been running for France makes Mbappe look slow. Like, he had absolutely everything. And when people compare Hazard, Salah, all these different wingers, and then they go all forwards, or like Suarez, and it's like, oh, which one? Henry, I don't think compares to any of them. I think his level's above the lot. I think the only competition he's got is prime Wayne Rooney. I think them two are the two best players in Premier League history. I genuinely believe that.
Do you know what? I still remember, I know it's slightly off topic, I still remember Wayne Rooney getting injured on World Cup, I think, against France, if I remember correctly. And honestly, even back then, I mean, I can't believe it. Again, there's another player against us who had a worldie. Welcome to the Premier League. Welcome to Man United. Again, same for Everton as well. You know,
he scored his first ever goal against you, didn't he, for Everton?
October 2002.
David Seaman. Yeah. I thought it was.
The camera hadn't panned properly when the shot went. They had to take the other camera angle, didn't they, later on? But yeah.
They're the sort of strikers in which, in today's football, there's no one. I'm not going to say anyone who can't make it, but yeah, everyone alludes to Haaland and whatnot as well. And honestly,
he's not Rooney or Henry or Drogba or Suarez. He's not.
There's a striker I used to regret as well. Every time he could have one leg, Didier Drogba. I still remember when he was coming over to Chelsea and people like, who's this? I was like, he's a good striker. I don't know how he'll suit the Premier League.
Every cup final he would be scoring. Big game striker. So important to have a big game striker.
Yeah. Do you know what? I honestly swear, some voodoo, every time he'd look at the season, like get the calendar out, when am I playing Arsenal? Circle that. That's a goal there. That's a 10 out of 10 performance. But that's what I'm going to allude to Sesko. And I can't pitch him in the same bracket, but that mentality, Sesko, if you listen to him, he's like, yeah, I've got this. And he kind of has heaped a bit of pressure on himself by doing that. But I do think he can deliver. I really do. He's young enough. As I said, Ruben, what he's got there, I really like it. It's quite tasty. A lot of young players coming up as well. And a lot of people forget as well, you've still got the youth who have absolutely demolished everyone around them. And as an old fan as well,
I think we were really missing work ethic in last season as well, like workhorses, someone that actually gets on the chases everything down and that. And I think Matheus Cunha is that player in the final third who just is your workhorse, is your running man. Matheus Cunha, he's always everywhere. He seems to be, and he's a bit of a shithouse. He kicks people about a bit, but I think look at Rooney, look at Keane. Like people had that in the old days, in the United days, they had that. I want to get hold of someone, and that's what Cunha's got, and I like it about him. I think it's good.
Before I jump back to the Liverpool game, I will say I was surprised you guys didn't go in for Neves. I remember when he was leaving Wolves, a strong link there and whatnot. And I honestly have been watching that link all summer thinking, please don't bring him in, because I honestly think there's another player who could do well for you. But
he was good.
Yeah. Jumping on to Liverpool, though, I think that's probably the one thing they're missing. And it sounds really silly, is that deep lining player who can get them out of trouble, who can go the extra gear, like what you just said there. Cunha,
I think they've got it. I think within Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and McAllister, within those three, they cover each other's positions. They work so well. They were like such an oiled machine. And one of them's now replaced by Wirtz. And I just don't know if it's going to be the same. I like Wirtz, but I don't know if it's going to be the same, because he feels a bit like a Bruno Fernandes to me, a bit like a luxury player.
He looked good. He looked good the other day, though, and on the radio as well, they were saying Ali McCoist. I agreed. The movement, he's gonna be amazing. He's
not a bit luxury, though, Stu. Is he not a bit like Fernandes?
You could absolutely. I agree. I'm with you. I'm
not sure who misses out to give him that. You know what energy they lack to give you that luxury player. Which with United, for example, like when we're playing Casemiro and Bruno. Bruno has to do legs and luxury, and he can't. And that's when we get chopped through in the middle.
I suppose they've got the luxury of, rotating, if anything. The pressure's on City. City have got to do something. City have really got to do something this year. And I don't know.
I'm not a massive fan of their signings, though. I'm not absolutely sold on Shirky. I watched him twice against Man United last year. I know he scored one, but I'm not majorly sold on Shirky. I think he could be good. He could be overawed by the Premier League. He's played in Legan. I don't know how good he is. I don't think that Reinders bloke special. I think he's okay, but I don't think he's special. I think they're lacking something special, but they are today being linked with Rodrigo. Now they've offloaded Jack Grealish. And Rodrigo is class, and that does add something to City for sure.
Chelsea are looking sharp. They're looking sharp. From what I've seen so far, I know it's only friendlies. I totally get it, but they've done Leverkusen. They've beaten AC. Liverpool lost to AC. I know you don't necessarily read too much into it. They're worried about injuries and stuff like that. They're not going full tilt. But I think Chelsea may be pushing.
The only thing I'd say about Chelsea is if we were playing Chelsea on Sunday and not Arsenal, I'd be predicting a win for us. And I'll tell you why. They're going to need half the season to gel that team together. They've made about 11 signings, haven't they?
Well, we're going to say as well, I think they've had a solid pre-season, as you both have alluded to. But again, I totally agree with you. They need time to gel. And again, for some obscure reason, I've heard a rumour they're looking at yet another keeper. And again, same thing, links to Donnarumma and whatnot. But jumping back to Man City as well, Kevin De Bruyne, I mean, like, what a world-class talent to lose. Loss. Yeah, and that's the thing. Haaland almost looked over his shoulder and thought, yes, please. It was on a plate every time. Foden is a world-class talent as well. And I'll be honest with you, as a youth player, even coming through the rank, I still remember watching him thinking, whew, this boy's got something as well. And when he first came on the scenes, absolutely adored it. But what Chelsea have done is almost, I will call it FIFA style, brought loads of young players and you've gone, okay, we're going to make something happen. We know we're not going to be able to spend bigger the next few years because we've got stadium renovations. We know we've got to take a look at the training ground. The ladies team needs more investment as well. Yeah, even though they sold their team back to themselves, there's a lot of silly things behind the scenes going on there, which Brody has been trying to plan for, but there's no doubt in my mind they missed someone like a Matthew Harding back in the day who knew the fans, who would come down and actually speak and go, okay, boys, what do you think about this, that and t'other? Abramovich brought success and he breathed success. And Todd just isn't that guy. And I think, honestly, the manager they've got now is the one driving this.
Businessman. It's businessman, unfortunately. It's not fans. They're not fans as such, are they? It's changed. The model's changed, hasn't it, over the years? They don't come speak to the fans enough, and that's not just on Chelsea. That's other clubs as well.
United have done well with Ineos, like you were saying earlier, mate. Give them their flowers at certain points. They've brought in Jason Wilcox and Christopher Vavell in the director positions, and they seem to know what they're doing. So yes, we've still got the Glazers and Ineos businessmen, but we have now got football men in the club, and we've brought in players, and we've brought in like signings from the Premier League experience, like Burmo and Cunha. They're looking to do things in the right areas. They're looking to make the right signings. Obviously, Christopher Vavell, big Red Bull guy, has brought in Sesko, used his relationship to do that, beat Newcastle to the punch and bring in Sesko. So we seem to have more football-orientated mindset now over cash, which is really important. I know he's made cutbacks, I get all that, but you have to balance the book somewhere. But just very shortly on Chelsea, they've made too many signings. They're going to take too long to gel. And they're also still looking at both Xavi Simons and Garnacho. And they've signed Jamie Gittins. And they've got, I know Madueke's left, which I think was a bit of a mistake. I actually think he's underrated. I think he's quite a decent player. But I just think you could get a different team week on week with Chelsea and gelling it all together, keeping everyone happy. I don't guarantee top four. A lot of people do, but I don't.
It's the Brazilian kid as well, Esteval.
He looks good.
I'm telling you. And João Pedro's floating around there. I know they've got the lap as well in there, but I don't know. I think João Pedro is going to. Him and Esteval are going to link up very well from what I've seen. I think they're going to be
very good in pre-season. He scored some good goals.
I wrote them off for top four last season, and look what happened. It was on record last year. There was a clip with me. There's so many good clubs. There's so many good clubs.
When you sign all them players, it's one of two things, isn't it? If it all gels great, then you're definitely top four. If it doesn't gel, you could be eighth. They're rolling the dice a bit, aren't they? But I think Liverpool have rolled the dice with a winning team, and I think that's massively concerning.
Agreed.
Massively concerning.
What about Everton, lads? We're a couple of signings short. Yet we need a right back. Need to sort the right winger out. That's me and Christopher were talking about.
You were linked to someone yesterday that I was really impressed with. I can't remember who it was now.
I'll be honest.
I think Fabrizio Romano linked you with someone yesterday, and I can't think who it was. I know Grealish has come in, which I think is a major signing. I think that's a great addition. I was convinced, as you said to me off camera, Stu, that Grealish would end up at Spurs after the Maddison.
100%. It was like Champions League football, no Maddison. It's like
Yeah.
this is just great. But I think it is because he lives up this way. He's Cheshire. I think that's a big thing
Oh,
for him.
it was the Chelsea guy that you've signed, isn't it? The old Chelsea guy.
Oh yeah, Dewsbury Hall.
He's
Yeah.
good. That's another one. That's another quite good
60
signing I've seen. Yeah,
60 minutes against Roma, and he was pulling the
looked
strings.
solid.
He was doing the
Yeah.
right-sided corners. The ball in, we were unlucky. Tarky hit it, went to the back stick. O'Brien could have probably got to it. He was pulling the strings, box to box, getting into the 10. Him and Idrissa Gueye were linking up beautifully. When them two went off, it was we weren't very good. We weren't very good at all.
Who's the guy that scored against us in pre-season? Who was that?
And Jai,
Enjoy. He's quite good, isn't he?
Yeah, I like
he's
him.
absolutely brilliant.
I haven't
He's-
noticed him before, really, to be honest with you. I've only seen
was-
that funny meme of him saying
he
his
was
name.
he was
He's
at
actually a decent
Sheffield.
player, isn't he?
Yeah.
He was at Sheffield United before Marseille, obviously. So he had a season at Sheffield United,
Yeah.
and then Marseille, not too bad, and 15 million.
Lots of
And-
energy, really good
Unbelievable.
positional sense.
He can have 2 or 3 players around him, and he can go at him. And he's so forward thinking. He was standout. Him and Pickford last season for me. Branthwaite, obviously, but yeah, he was a standout. And we've not had players like that for a long time, getting you up off your seat, and that's him. That's him in a nutshell.
I think you'll finish solidly in the middle. I don't think you'll be anywhere near relegation. I think
I'm-
you need to get around the 10,
I think
11, that
we
sort
can get top half.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't. If I'm sounding partial, I apologise. But
No, I think 10. I mean, 10 is top half, isn't it, nowadays? About right in the middle, top half.
he's worked.
About 10.
He's worked this window well. Tyler Diblin was a rip-off, absolute rip-off. They wanted 50 with the add-ons. As we were speaking to Nate last week about this, and then 25% sell-on. So we'd then have to, if we sold him for 80, if it was a sell-on and we went on to go amazing, someone else went in for him. There's no, like Chris said, there was no upside to it. We're not going to make anything. Ridiculous. It's too and 19. It's a risk, but it could have been, no risk, no reward with Tyler Diblin. But
I don't think he's exceptional. I think he's a good talent. I think he's got potential. I think for that sort of money, though, you can do better. And I think when you look at Grealish, for example, Grealish is better now than Diblin. Obviously, he's got potential. But I think when we were linked with Mbeumo, they were saying if we don't pay it, we're going to go in for Diblin. I was like, you're probably going to end up paying 10, 15 less for just getting Mbeumo. Go and get someone who's just scored 18 Premier League goals and ready for it.
Two or three solid years, and he's improved year on year. It's just it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer, wasn't it? The business you've done, just brilliant. But I'm quietly confident. But again, he still needs players in. Don't get me wrong. O'Brien.
Where do you think Spurs will finish?
Spurs.
I've pitched them right down.
He's got a job.
Yeah,
he's got a job on. He's got a massive job on. He has, and I like him as a manager.
I saw Alan Shearer's Premier League prediction yesterday, and he had him above United, and I was like,
no,
I don't
not
see
happening.
it myself. I don't see it myself.
They can't keep sacking managers. They're gonna have to stick with him. They're gonna have to stick with him. But
I mean, I think even though he's a lot older, I think Son, especially for the dressing room and the leadership as well. I think Son's a big loss for Spurs, a big loss.
100%. Again, yeah.
Who's come in? Have they signed anyone? Who's come in for Spurs? I can't even remember now.
Well, the other part as well for me, that again as an Arsenal fan,
Kudos come in, didn't they? That was it. Kudos.
We've been following Eze for a little bit now, and obviously that deal has been really dragging on for some time. And now Tottenham have just popped their head in. Obviously, with Son gone out the picture, they can offer a far better wage contract, let alone as well agent to agent, if you know what I mean. I'm sure there can be more perks, and David Levy does know how to offer a good sum. The issue being for me, Percy, Tottenham are one of those clubs. I said it last week, actually, to yourself as well. Over the years, they had the opportunity, whilst they had a good squad, to build on it, and they didn't. And they became a business. They did what Arsenal did, brought the new stadia, which obviously straight away has hampered them, which, don't get me wrong, and I hate saying this, but they've got a phenomenal stadium. I can't knock it.
Lovely for the boxing.
Yeah. I do firmly believe, though, 13th. They're not going much higher than that. And the reason being is not just with the injury of Maddison, not just with losing Tom, they're just not, there's no desire. There's no winning players in there anymore. They almost start trying to plaster over, as I said, plaster over the cracks and whatnot. 13th, if they're lucky. But nowhere in a million years are they finishing above Man United. I've got Man United finishing 6th or 7th, with Everton round about the 8th marker.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Nate.
The reason being is I do feel Everton have that ability to go in for some of those loans. I've heard a lot of players being linked to Everton as well. Some maybe not real as well, but let's face it, if you're a young player and David Moyes is looking at you, that's a really attractive proposition. Same goes for Man United as well. If Ruben Amorim sits down and actually says, hey, take a look at what I could do with Obi, Heaven, Euro. You want to come and be part of that? Something special? Oh, Mainu, Ahmad. I could keep going. There's young players coming in. We'll offer you game time as soon as it comes available. What do you say?
Mainu's game time worries me, though, because I don't see where he fits in the system. And I highly rate him, but I don't see where he fits in because he's obsessed with playing Bruno every single game.
Yeah, Bruno is one of those machines. Again, for me, when I heard someone came in 100 million over this summer window, I thought, oh my God, here we go. Yeah, the captain. Bruno, I've got so much respect for because he literally didn't even let go to the club. He just said, no, that was it.
He did down straight away. He did, yeah. Apparently, Amorim spoke to him one-to-one and just said, look, I'd like you to stay. And he said, I've always said, as long as I'm wanted here, I'm staying.
I will stay.
So if you want me here, then I'm here. That's it. He said, I could have gone, but the club needed to tell me I was surplus, and they told me I wasn't. They told me they wanted me, so I'm still here.
Yeah,
boys, I wanted to cover more games, but sadly, no, not at all. It's been brilliant. It's been brilliant. That's what we wanted. We wanted a bumper preview for United Arsenal. You've delivered. It was brilliant, and cannot wait for that game as well. It's going to be great. It's just great to have it back, of course. Yeah. And just thank you so much for coming back on Football Then and Now, boys. It's been a pleasure.
No worries at all, mate.
Thank you so much.
Football Then and Now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.